Is it fair to say today's the first day of real evaluations?
In some ways, definitely. I mean, this is the first day, padded work, but we're still in a restricted mode. It's 105 minutes. Today's ramp up. Today and tomorrow will be limited time on the field, but yeah, definitely a chance to get into the pads. Get the padded individual work. Special teams work, a little bit of combination, and then we'll stay with the team periods that we've been working. So. I just want to get as much done as I can today in the 105 minutes. But yes, this is everybody looks forward to today.
You guys added Rayshawn Jenkins. What attracted you to him, and how do you envision him fitting in?
Well, I think number one, a lot of respect for what he's done in this league, and I think just like anything this time of year, your roster. I mean, it's always ongoing. These discussions have been fluid. Frankly, his style of play fits the way we want to play, and veteran additions this time of year, you're fortunate. I've always looked at it that way, and I'm anxious to see him out there.
Mike, you a back zone backers guy?
Sorry?
Are you a back zone backers guy?
Yeah, absolutely.
At the same time, you waived Darnell Savage. Why didn't things work out with him?
Well, I just think number one, he came fighting back. From his injury and so forth, and there's different types of things that you look for, as far as not only just on the defense but special teams, So, we gave him an opportunity, and we just felt that we wanted to move forward and give Jenkins an opportunity.
Behind Deshaun Elliott and Jaquan Brisker, you guys have tried a number of different safeties and elevated roles dating back to OTAs. What's been your evaluation of some of those other guys like Robert Spears-Jennings or Jack Henderson and Castro?
Well, number one, I think when you look at them, you look at the whole body of work, and they play all four downs, specifically with special teams. But this is the jury's already hit. This is the day you want to see. I think they've done an outstanding job. Their energy, their understanding. I'm excited about these guys. But these next 2 weeks are huge, and to get that first preseason game under our belt. So, but we're looking for, I'm looking for combinations. We talked a little bit about this with the offensive line group. It's very evident also in the back end. You don't just line up and play straight nickel or straight base as much. You have different matchup personnel groups and ability to have three safeties on the field versus four corners, all those things. So you want to have as much flexibility within your scheme. To utilize personnel, because this game eventually comes down to matchup. Particularly today, emphasis will illustrate that, because today's emphasis is third down and fourth down. So you'll see us start working those situations, and the tendencies really since the fourth down has become so prominent. The trends of the league, sub personnel groups, particularly combinations in those areas, are something that we need a lot of work on.
Mike, I know you haven't seen Joey out there, but you look at your cornerback group in general. You spoke the other day about Asante, but with Dalen Everett, how's that group look?
Yes, I mean, it's looking good. I think that the depth, the young guys are the ones you really. That's frankly, there's a lot of reasons. Not only just the quarterbacks. I try to go, and I've actually gone almost every one when we get to the 2 spot to be around the younger players. So, but the corners, yes. I mean. You don't never, my history at training camp as a head coach, tight ends, corners, receivers. I mean, this training camp regiment, this practice structure, those groups are stressed. So the numbers there are important. And so with that, it creates more opportunity. So I think all those young guys will have an opportunity.
Mike, when you look at the safeties that you guys accumulated and just the history of their playing in this league, a lot of them play like more traditional strong safety roles, lining up in the box and in the slot, than necessarily the deep free safety roles. Is that a concern for you guys, or is that something that you think that they'd all be able to rotate between and be able to fill that deep safety role when you call upon it?
No, I think you make an excellent point. I think it's clearly some of the conversations we've been in as far as the range of our safeties, and then also that carries over to Danny Crossman and how we're going to utilize those DBs on special teams. So yes. The point is well made. It's definitely something that we're looking at.
Mike
You've
off.
come across as calm, cool, and collective.
I'm sorry? Say it
You've
again?
come across as calm, cool, and collective since day one in your ride. Has there been a moment yet where you've kind of had to maybe light a fire into the team where they needed a little pep?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think just like anything, you know, being in tune with everything, just the way they practice, you know, I think our guys have hit the target. I think we checked every box from an operation, you know, standpoint. The energy of practice, I think their pace has been really good for us being in our first year together. So the tempo, you know, you see it on the clock. There's time periods. You know, there's not just, you know, the fact you're trying to get done within that time. It's how fast you're getting in and out of the huddle, all those things. So, yeah, this would be a big day in that area too, because usually when the pads slow down, you know, there's a little more conversation, and we can't have any of that. We gotta keep going. We want to stress that neurological clock, the nervous systems, and so forth. So, but yeah, I mean, trust me, I'm the guy that makes sure everything needs to look a certain way, and when it doesn't look a certain way, then you know, they'll be aware of it.
Mike, how has this team handled those stresses to this point?
Good. No, it's been good. So schedule helps them. You know, I think the 1-2 mock game that formula has worked well for me. You know, we're getting the reps. You know, as far as the box we're trying to check. You know, we're getting the situations repped accordingly. You know, the biggest stress point of our training camp will be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You know, because Thursday and Friday will be the first time we really, you know, get to have what I would call a true training camp practice. You know, 2.5 hours and in pads, and you know, be able to get, you know, through some of the one-on-one and a little more combination drill work. You know, more run game work, and so yeah, they're, you know, it's our first day of pads, so we're doing okay.
Mike, there's a lot of people out there early. You're putting the pads on, the Pat McAfee show here. How do you kind of balance getting the right type of work in on this type of day without making it, you know, too much of a spectacle?
Well, you know, we're the Pittsburgh Steelers. We play in front of big crowds. You know, we're used to that environment. You know, I think, frankly, I think this is really exciting for the young guys. I think the older guys enjoy it. You know, I think anytime you have energy around your workplace, it's definitely a positive thing. And we're fortunate that, you know, St. Vincent in this environment with the fans is incredible. You know, McAfee saw him this morning. He's locked and ready to go, so they're excited to be here. So that, you know, that all adds to it. But frankly, to be honest with you, once you get between the white lines, you know, we have work to do. You know, we want to play football, but we just, you know, we want to go 100 mile an hour, you know, and just, you know, at the end of the day, have the quality tape and hit the targets.
Mike, Deshaun Elliott been working on a little bit of a pitch count, and is he 100% when it comes to his health?
Well, I mean, until he goes through every drill and every team period, I think it's, you know, you probably put him in that category of 100%. I mean, there's protocol. You know, there's protocol with these injuries. There's no reason to push a guy, you know, any faster than with the trainers, and he's part of it. You know, the player's part of the conversation of return to play. Return to play is very important, and as far as the discipline of it, because the player normally wants to go, and I think, like, you know, been doing this a long time, you have to protect them from themselves. So we're just being smart. I mean, there's a lot of conversation that goes into that between the doctors, the trainers, and the player. So I think I would just say we're being diligent.
Mike, what have you seen from Max Ahanachour so far, and what are you looking?
sorry?
What have you seen from Max Ahanachour so far? What are you looking forward to seeing from him when the pads go on?
Just frankly in pads. That's what I'm looking forward to. I want to see his feet. I want to see the athletic ability come out. You know, his understanding of what we're asking him to do. The speed of the game is a big hurdle for young guys. You know, when you get to this point, you know, you think, you know, the speed of the helmet practices is, you know, it's full speed, more in the space and everything. But, you know, let's see how it goes in the phone booth. So I just want to see all of our young interior guys, you know, how they handle the speed and the physicality of the phone booth.
Two more guys.
Eller hit a 38-yarder on fourth down in the 2-minute on Saturday. Can you take us through what he did well on that play? Or?
I mean, is it, you know, fourth and long? We had an underneath route there. You know, we're looking for a matchup there with Eli, but he had a one-on-one runner, and I thought he gave him a good ball, and, you know, hit the back shoulder is obviously a huge play.
What's your theory
Last
on
one
going
here.
deep
Well,
on
Mike.
4th and shorter? You know, instead of throwing to the sticks, you go for a big play on 4th down. You take that when it's there?
Well, I think like all these practices, you know, 4th and 10 at that point, you know, if I was in the media, I'd be criticizing the guy calling the plays there. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but you know, but also there's an agenda here too. You know, we're trying to practice, we're trying to hit. You know, 4th and 10, you want to, you know, you look for opportunities to practice. You don't ever, hopefully, you don't get those in games. So, my outlook on those things, I'm trying to hit every position, you know, every situation I possibly can. But for me to come in here and dissect the quarterback's decision and play selection and you know how it went down, don't get used to it because we're not going to do that. But I thought he did. I thought he threw a hell of a ball.
One more. Mike, Aaron said you guys talked and you want him to play in the 2 preseason games at home. How'd you kind of decide that, and how much do you really want to see Aaron out there?
Well, I mean, that's, you know, those decisions are really going to be made once we get up to it. I mean, trust me, I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of, I've talked about this, you know, I think in the beginning here. We have plans, but, you know, being a healthy system, let's see what happens. You know, a lot can happen between now and then, too. So, but, yeah, he'd like to play. I would like to see him play. So, but we won't make a decision until we get all the way up to it because there's more that goes into that than just, you know, having one player play. It's the, you know, it's the culmination of players.
All right.
Thank you.